Hi, everyone. I'm Carly.
And I'm Sophia.
And this is Away She Goes, a podcast from girls who travel.
Each episode will help you feed your wanderlust with travel tips, stories, inspiration, and more. Away she goes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Away She Goes. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Jorden Tually. I will let him introduce himself, but Jorden is a content creator. He has a ton of followers on Instagram, YouTube, the whole nine. I've been a follower for a bit, and I love watching all of your stuff. So, Jorden, would you mind just telling our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Jorden. I am an Australian travel creator, and I have been traveling for the last 10 years consecutively. This is my 10th year right now. So I am I'm getting quite experienced in travel. And I have just spent the last 10 years making videos and posting my life on the internet. So that is it in a nutshell.
That's so cool.
How did you get started in that lifestyle? Like, did you just wake up one day and be like, I want to do this? Or was there like a natural progression somehow?
There was a few things. The first thing was in Australia, in my university, I was studying graphic design at the time, and I love graphic design. And I was from 13 years old. I was like, I'm going to be a graphic designer, and that is all I wanted to do. And I couldn't imagine doing anything else. That's like where all my love came from. And then when I did an art history class with my university, which included like a 2-week trip over to Europe to see the Mona Lisa and all these things. Basically like, one of those like, let the government pay for it now and just have a good time. I think they stopped doing it. I think they stopped doing it because they realized what everyone was doing. But so when I did this, I went overseas, and obviously it was a very quick 2 weeks, like, bouncing around. And I was like, oh my word, I love Europe. Like, I just love, like, this is a whole new world. This is really cool. So then I went back to university, got my degree, and I decided, after watching The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is one of my favorite movies, very cliche in the travel world, but I watched this movie and I said, you know what, I'm going to do a gap year. So I did one gap year overseas, saved up about 10,000 Australian, it's probably like 7,500 USD. And I was like, I'll just travel. And I was doing a little bit online with graphic design. So I was like, I'll try and do 6-7 months overseas, solo, first time overseas, kind of scary. And I absolutely loved it. And it just sort of like went from there. I didn't think I would ever love something more than graphic design. And then all of a sudden I was like torn because I really love travel. And I was like, oh no, and which way do I go? Do I get a job and do graphic design, or do I start to travel more? And I ended up choosing travel. And then, yeah, the rest is kind of history. Just time just evaporated, and a decade later.
A gap year turned into 10 years. A gap 10 years.
A decade gap year. Gap decade.
Yeah.
That sounds so easy.
I know.
It's
right?
probably not though, right?
No, yeah, well, when it comes to social media, the first year I wasn't even thinking about social media. I was still taking photos and videos because I had a natural like inclination to create because I love creating. So I was still making content for myself. But then in 2016, I met a guy in Hawaii, and he was like, oh, I'm starting a blog and I'm starting a Instagram. And I was like, I mean, he was like, you should do it too. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I am taking photos and traveling. I may as well. So he sort of like helped me out a little bit with like post every day, use these hashtags, and like help me get started. And then I just realized like, oh, I love social media. And yeah, it went from there. So 2016, I sort of got into it, but it wasn't really a stable income for 3 or 4 years after that. So I was still very much like work, travel as much as I could. But yeah.
What is your favorite part about this kind of travel? Maybe also what's your least favorite part about the way you travel now?
My favorite part about travel now is the opportunities. I love just like getting a random email from a random tourism board or company or person just saying like, hey, I have this thing in this place. Do you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, that's like my favorite thing because it's like you just get opportunities that you would never, ever even consider one doing or even let alone like thinking it's possible or knowing that that even exists. So I get a lot of unique experiences in that light, and I really love that, along with just meeting so many different types of people whilst traveling. And the worst, oh, there's a few, but the worst thing coming into, I turned 30 last year and I'm getting a little older. So the worst thing now is realizing the lack of routine and the lack of sort of like weekly community in regards to seeing the same people every day or every week or every month even. Just that is always, it always has been a struggle, I guess, but through my early 20s, early mid 20s, it didn't have such hold such weight as it does now. I feel like as I'm getting older, those things are starting to become more of a priority in my life. And that's the one thing that right now, because I don't have a base right now, I'm just still bouncing around. So right now, that's probably where I would say most people always come up to me and say, "Oh, I love your job. Your job's amazing. You're so lucky. I would do it in a heartbeat." But then I always just am like, well, I would say 95% of people wouldn't actually enjoy the lifestyle that I live, or wouldn't be able to handle just the constant go, 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 packing, living out of a bag without really having any of that routine. So it sounds like online it looks so glamorous and amazing and fun, which it is, but yeah, like little self-awareness in me goes, okay, well, there's actually a lot of benefits to slowing down a little bit, having a little bit more time to myself, having my own room, having my own bedroom, or like how or whatever it is, like my own space, things like that, where most people take for granted because that's just their daily life, where those things are seen as like boring to the everyday person, but to someone like me, I'm like, oh, that's all I dream of.
That's where I would struggle. Where I live, I have a lot of family close by. I have a lot of friends really close by, and I definitely took for granted like going to the grocery store with my best friend who's also my neighbor, or going up to my cousins for dinner every Sunday. And for a couple of years I had moved not very far. I moved like a couple of hours away for a job opportunity, and even just being a couple hours away, I was like, wow, I miss Sunday dinner. I miss all these things. So I've acknowledged that too. Like I would love your lifestyle on one hand, but like I would struggle with that aspect of missing the
Yeah.
community like where I live.
Yeah, that's where I'm like the thing that's funny about it is like it's all self-inflicted because at the end of the day, I get to choose whatever lifestyle I want to live. So it's not like it's like a self-inflicted issue that I can easily resolve. But because I've been doing it this way for so long, it's hard for me to like put my feet down and be like, no, we're going to try this because this is going to be beneficial long term. It may be weird at the start. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now is like where I should base or how long should I like be in one location and try and slow things down. But it's always hard. Once I get an email and I just like I'm out of there. Like I
Yeah.
just get one opportunity and I'm gone. Or I see one cool thing and I'm like, I gotta go there. I
I
gotta
gotta
go there.
go.
Yeah.
What does a typical day look like for you when you're preparing content? I would imagine obviously you have to prioritize content creation and making sure you have enough. So like what is a typical day? You maybe don't necessarily just wake up and go sightseeing. Like how do you kind of structure your day when you're creating?
Many, many times, I'll just spend a week or 2 weeks just like in a random hotel room or whatever in any country or any city in the world. A lot of the times, if there's like good internet, like last like 2 months ago, I just like stayed in Bangkok for 10 days. Like obviously you say you're in Bangkok and people are sending you suggestions and all these fun things, but I didn't see a thing in Bangkok. I mean, I have been to Bangkok before, but 10 days, I didn't see one site. I didn't do one thing to do with travel. It was all to do with waking up, getting on my laptop, um, just editing, 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 you can go to a cool cafe and you can kind of suss out the digital nomad scene a little bit, which is a nice way to not travel. So
Mhm.
that's cool. Sort of like suss out the vibes when it comes to the nomadic scene, which is fun. But yeah, it's basically just like build the motivation to do as much as you can and not procrastinate all of these days away, because in 10 days, like I know, like right now I'm about to start I actually run group trips, so I'm about to start a group trip in the Philippines. That's why I'm here. And that is going to be 10 days where I am with 20 people. So I can film things, obviously, but there's going to be zero downtime, zero time for editing,
I've run
zero
them
time.
too. I've done it.
Yeah, like it's wild. And then even afterwards, you probably just need, like, after such an intense social environment, there's like 3 days of just nothing, like
Nothing.
not even, yeah, not even editing, just like lazy sitting around because it's so intense in the moment. So I'm thinking in that mindset right now, and I have 2.5 days of I'm in my own environment with no one around, and I can focus, I can get work done, and I can hopefully, if I don't procrastinate enough, and I can get some scheduled posts so my social media doesn't completely die when I'm focusing on keeping 20 people alive for 10 days.
Yeah. It's always
So
fun.
yeah, so it goes through ebbs and flows. It's like very much like some days you're shooting and you're filming and you're creating and you're just seeing so much stuff. And then other days, like other weeks, you're just sitting in a room, you're, running through meetings, you're planning content. That's the other thing. Like there's planning content, and then there is, when you don't have a base, there's just straight up planning beds. Like where I have to find a bed for 365 days of the year. So that takes up just so much more time than you'd think it is. And then you're running budgets. Oh, I thought I could stay here, but that place is a bit too expensive. Maybe I should pivot and stay in this city instead. So there's all this stuff that happens. Like I could have a week of editing that I'm like, sweet, I got a week. And then 2.5 days of that week is just me trying to get my schedule somewhat consistent or set so I know what I'm doing. And then I'm like, oh my word, I only have 4 days to edit now because I've just spent the last 2.5 days planning my stuff. So time just evaporates when you're full-time traveling. And that's, yeah, and that's even without like going into too much detail of like posting on every platform and figuring out like, oh, that's not working anymore. That post, I thought that was going to do well, but it didn't do well. Why didn't it do well? And you go into all those details. So it's very much like, yeah, it's a very full-on, full-time thing, but I'm slowly learning to bring other people in to help me manage it all. So it's not just Jorden doing everything solo, but it took a while.
I was gonna ask if you had some kind of team or if it was all you. You do have a small team, it sounds like.
Yeah, I have a manager and he helps me with all the emails when it comes to like brand deals and stuff. So that's really good because sometimes emails just take me forever. And then um I have a team that helps me edit the long form YouTube videos.
Got it.
So it's small. It's like, yeah, it's just like helping with the long form and then helping with the emails, and then I'll do all the stories and then all of the short form editing because yeah, I don't know. I haven't been able to release my grip from that creative process yet. I mean, some people are like, you should just pay someone to do the short form, but I'm like, one, I love doing it, and two, it's like, it's gonna take just as much time to train someone for my style, and then all
Mhm.
this like trying to send over the content, and just like, so I put a line there. I still do all the short form myself, but yeah.
So, what takes you longer, the short form or the long form video?
Oh, I mean, the long form, that's why I had to get an editor to help me with it all, because the long form is like, that's like weeks. Like
Mm.
Wow.
one one long form video, let's say like a 14-minute to 20-minute video just on like a vlog, that will be minimum, if it's a fast edit, like 3 or 4 days. Uh probably like 20, 25, 30 hours of work for me anyway. I don't think I'm the fastest editor with that stuff. I'm sure like my editors and other people can like have a better workflow and they can get it done faster because they're probably more professional at it all. But for me, it's really hard. So yeah, I had to like pass that one off happily. So I just now with the long form is still really hard though because I've still got to film it all and come up with the concepts, come up with the story, find the plot. Like long form is very much moving into that traditional realm of media of storytelling where you've got to really like bring people through to help them like feel emotion about a piece of content. You can't just be like, for years I was just like, now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. And I'm not cute enough to get away with that. So to find to develop the storytelling is probably my biggest struggle. But short form you can get away, like 20 seconds is a lot easier to hold someone's attention than 20 minutes. So you can potentially, take a few shortcuts and it's not as serious and as time consuming as the long form would possibly be.
Do you have a favorite video that you've ever created? Like, do you have one or two that you're just like, that's my favorite one?
Oh, I have so many. It's actually like it's wild because 10 years of travel, like pretty much documented all online. I have so many moments that I forgot about, and then I have to watch I have to scroll back through my own videos. And like, oh, I did that. That was epic. And then I always get really excited about something. But from my favorite long form video was a video that um I instantly when I saw it years ago. I saw it was renting girlfriends in Japan. That I saw it years ago and I said, there just ain't no way. And then I was like, you know what? And I was in Japan at the like a couple years ago and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out and see if it's actually a thing. Because I'd only seen big like BBC or Vice or those big sort of like media companies like covering it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna see if it's possible. And it was possible and it was hilarious and it was just such a fun funny video to make. It was so awkward and I watch it back now and I'm like you can physically see how awkward I am, but I just love that video so much because I it took actually a while to get going because I had to like I didn't know any Japanese and you had to like communicate with these people and you had to sort of tell them, hey, this is going on YouTube. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be okay with me like filming you, blah blah blah. So just the miscommunications with that took forever. But no, that was really fun. And it was one of those things where you can just like, tell your grandkids, oh yeah, I rented like I actually rented two girlfriends in Japan and just took them on dates. It's like the most random thing you would ever tell someone. But no, I love that. I actually learned a lot about the culture through
Mm-hmm. I bet.
just like the 3 hours of just hanging out with these girls. But that's probably my favorite long form video. Um, and then short form, oh, there is just so many, but I would say it's actually hilarious because as a creator, my instant thought goes to, oh, favorite video with the most views, bang. But then you're like, actually, why does viewership have anything to do with it? Like some of my favorite videos are videos that completely flopped. So yeah, it's hard though because I've got like over 1,000 videos.
You do.
Oh man, I'll probably say there was a trip I went to Lofoten Islands like in Norway and like there was just like a couple days of just like perfect weather and like the landscapes were insane. So any of the photo or video content that I took up there, um, that is just like my favorite thing to look back on. Like if I'm always going back through the hard drives, I'll go to that folder and I'll just like
And just
watch the
look.
video. Yeah, and it's like, oh, I'll happily like re-edit those videos like constantly. I'll post Norway for the rest of my life. It was just so beautiful, and I always think about like that is just such a magical place. So yeah, any of that content is some of my favorite.
I totally understand that. I love the Lofoten. Which season were you there?
I was there in July, so in summer.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
same.
I need to go back for a winter like adventure as well. That's what
Yes, for the
after the summer I was
snow.
like, okay, gotta go back. Yeah.
Same. What would you say has been your favorite place that you've traveled to so far?
Ironically, it's actually the Philippines, which is why I'm hosting
hey.
a group trip to the Philippines because this country, I used to travel this country a lot. When I was starting out, I had no money. So Southeast Asia, I was very inclined to travel Southeast Asia because my money went further, my time, I could travel for just longer and give myself better opportunity at potentially making a career out of this because I had more time compared to if I was in Europe or in North America or South America. So, um, yeah, I traveled the Philippines like 5 times within a period of 3 years, I think. Like I went back and I went back and I went back. And it was sort of the first country that I really started independent adventures. I was just like, let's find this waterfall. Let's go here. So me and my friend that yeah, we just sort of started adventuring the Philippines and that really got me a nice little foothold in the creator world. And the people are so nice, like my favorite people ever. And I'm a tropical boy, so I absolutely love the tropics and I love the ocean. I love diving, I love swimming, and I love palm trees. So it was already going to be a place that I'm going to love. But the people are just the best. Like they're so like they love karaoke. They're very open. I could, you can just go to someone's house, knock on their door, and say, "Hey, I need help," and like more often than not, they're just going to help you. So yeah, I've had a lot of natural adventures in the Philippines just from meeting someone. Oh, come here, or come here, or let me take you there. So it quickly became my favorite country, and that's why I'm so happy to be back. But yeah, definitely the Philippines for me.
Do you have a least favorite that you're comfortable? Some
Mm.
people don't want to share it or don't have one, but do you have one that you just were like not a fan of?
No, I mean I have. That's the thing that's so funny about it. It's like every country has the opportunity to be the best country or the worst country, and it has nothing to do with the country itself. It's all to do with your experience. So it's all to
Absolutely.
do
Yeah.
with who you traveled with. You can go to the most boring country with the coolest and fun people, and you'll be like, that was my favorite country
That's my
because
favorite.
that experience is so fun because of these people. Or you can go to the coolest, I can go to Norway or the Philippines with the worst people, and I'll be like, I hated that country. I had a terrible time. These people are the worst. So it is funny how your mind can just attach a negative or a positive attribute to the country depending on just like your experience. And that is exactly what happened when I was in Morocco. I had a terrible,
Mm.
terrible experience in Morocco. It has nothing to do with Morocco. I actually would love to go back to the country and give another chance because I know there's so much beauty there. Um, but yeah, I just had a terrible experience in Morocco. I went on one of those. It wasn't a Kentucky tour, but it was like like 40 people on a bus tour. And I didn't realize how large Morocco was. So basically, every day we would wake up, eat breakfast at the hotel, 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., all the way till like 4 p.m. We're just driving for 8 hours. We'd have dinner in a different country, different city, walk around at night in the pitch black, and then we'd do it all again and go to another city.
Mm.
So
Ooh.
I was like, one, this is the stupidest tour ever. Why are we
It's a
traveling? Like
terrible
we're
itinerary.
Yeah.
75%. Yeah, we're like 75% of our daylight, we're just on a bus, which makes no sense. I didn't realize it was so far away, like every location. So my bad for that. And then um at the end of the trip, I was in Marrakesh, and one, I already didn't get a good vibe from the locals in Marrakesh, like not the locals in tourism. I didn't get a good vibe. They were very aggressive and they were very like, and I'm a, I'm a white 6 foot like dude. So for me to feel a little like apprehensive about the locals in tourism, I'm just thinking like, what are they? What is some cute little girl gonna think if I'm feeling like this? So when I went there, um, yeah, they would just follow you. They were so persistent, so annoying, and it was kind of like really like slightly aggressive. And I was like, I didn't like this. And then when I went and checked into a hotel after this tour, I went for 2 nights, just put myself in a hotel, and I went up to my room. It was like a $30-40 night hotel. It wasn't a nice one, but what happened was I went out for lunch and I came back like 40 minutes later, and someone had gone into my hotel room, taken my bag with everything, and like my laptop, my passport, my cameras, my hard drives,
Shit.
my money, everything, just taking it all out of my hotel room. And I was like, what the heck? So we ended up figuring it out. I got the CCTV footage. Basically, locals pretend to stay in these cheaper hotels. And then when they're just constantly scouting through the hallway, like throughout the day, like pretending they're quite active, like just hanging out in the hotel. But what they're doing is looking at like people that are staying in hotel rooms. And I was staying next to this guy that was a local who checked in at the same time as me. And then basically the cleaner opened up my hotel room to grab the sheets, and she just like left the door open as she grabbed the sheets and put them in the laundry, and then she came back to the hotel room, but the door was open for like 2 minutes.
That was all.
So
That was all.
yeah, so he grabbed my bag, went in, grabbed my bag, dragged it into his room. Then he spent like the next hour just like going through all my stuff, and decided I'll take the laptop, I'll take the money. I was very thankful actually. He was very much like an insurance job thief. Like I assume he understood like what I could get claim back, like where like it wasn't like he wasn't trying to like ruin my life. Like he left my passport, he left my like my licenses, he left my hard drives, he even left my camera, which is crazy. So and my drone, he left my drone.
Whoa.
So yeah, he just went through it all. He found like my little extra stash of money, took all the money, and he took the laptop. Yeah, so it was like 3 grand in total, which
Wow.
was super. Like after having like the worst trip already, I already had like the worst week
Yeah.
in Morocco. And I wasn't feeling like Morocco was a vibe because I just did it wrong. I just sat on a bus, and then that happened, and I got robbed, and then I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" And then I went down to the local police station, and that was a wild experience.
I bet.
Like I like yeah, the police like abusing their power just in their like area. Oh man, it was so hectic. Like just watching like physical altercations with like I guess criminals. I had no idea what they were doing, but that was wild. And then even the police when he was writing up the insurance report that I could get a claim. He's like, "How much money did you lose?" And I was like, "Oh, like $300." And he's like, "Are you sure? I can put 3,000 and then they can't do anything, and then you'll just get $30,000." I was
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah, literally, like the police was like, "I can write any number here, and then they will pay that back," sort of thing. Like, what's your limit on your insurance? Let's just max it out. And I was like, bro, I just watched you like beat the crap out of some random dude in handcuffs that's sitting in the corner of this place.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me this. I want to get out of here. I don't want to go into a fraud situation with you. Like,
Right.
what the heck? So it was just like a whole mismatch of stuff. But so it's probably my least favorite country. But I could probably list off like 5 other countries that I felt were super boring, because I don't think Morocco is boring,
No.
right? Like it's beautiful. It's got so much landscapes. I actually had the best sunrise ever in the Sahara. It's super nice. It has a beautiful coastline. I just had a terrible experience, but there are other countries that I didn't have a terrible experience. I just felt like, oh, it's a bit of a sleeper country. It's just like low, chill, relaxed, and I was just like, couple days here and then I'm good. Like I didn't connect to it. So
I've had
there's many
one of
examples.
those. Yeah.
There's many examples, but
Yeah. I haven't been to as many places. I have one that I can think of that most people just love, and I was just like,
what is it?
Denmark.
Oh, really? Yeah.
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 But I think
Yeah.
too, like I was in Copenhagen. It was in December. I was by myself. So I think part of it was I was bored. I was there like not at the best time of year. So I
And
think
it's
part of it was
expensive.
self-inflicted.
Yeah. It's always a worse experience when you're not having a good time and it's expensive. It
Yeah.
like
Mm,
Yep.
it's
yeah.
like doubles down. Like, because you're like, I'm paying money, so it better be good. And then when it's not, it just adds that magnification of like, ah. But yeah, no.
I wasn't there on Christmas, but I flew there the day after Christmas and I flew home on New Year's Day. So that whole week I was sitting there and I was like, I'm bored. I'm spending all this money. I'm not having a good time. And I was like, I could just be home with my family and my friends.
Right,
I
yeah.
actually it was like the one time I was like, I'd rather be at home than where I'm at.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah. I know that's funny. But that's at some level, that's like the beauty of travel.
Mm.
Like just going there, like there's nothing better than just going to a place and just like existing and then just being like, I just existed here for a week,
Yep.
nothing memorable, didn't meet anyone cool, and I just existed and left.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
mean,
sometimes that's the reality of travel. People think
it
travel's
is.
like always this like non-stop go like adventure, but sometimes you're curious about a country, you go there, you take it in for what it is, and you leave, and you don't vibe with it, and that's now you can have your opinion on the place,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's like part of the experience, which is kind of good.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I don't dislike Denmark. I didn't click with it at all
I mean, you've
for
also
No,
whatever
just
yeah.
been to
reason.
Copenhagen, and also what you said,
It's true.
Jordan, about how you just go to a place and you exist there. I think that's literally what Denmark's for, because
Yeah.
I live very close to the border. I live in Germany, close to the Danish border. So I've went with a bunch of friends. We rented a house and just played D&D for an entire long weekend there, and like go surfing there, but like don't really interact much with the country itself because
Yeah.
it's nice to chill and be on the countryside, but
Yeah, that's
nothing
it.
exciting.
Yeah, I did the same this summer. I was like, I should check out the Baltics more because I've always somewhat avoided them. So I went to Lithuania, Latvia, and I already had preconceived ideas going in, and I wasn't wrong. It's a very summer, like retirement vibe. Everyone is just relaxed and it's almost like everyone's retired. It's like sort of like old people tourism is like thriving there. My mom or my grandmother, I should say, would love it because it's just like little cute markets. The weather's nice, everything's clean, simple, get around. Like it's not expensive. So it was great to experience, but I'm just like, it's not like, oh my word, guys, you have to go to Latvia. It's amazing. Like I didn't have that experience. I just had like yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So after traveling for 10 years, I'm wondering, is there anything left on your bucket list?
Yeah, well, that's actually so funny. The other day, someone was we were talking about this, and part of me is like, I've done everything. Like I'm very privileged to be able to say I've done everything I've wanted to do. But then obviously some that my friend just goes, really? Everything? What about? Then I realize, oh yeah, there's hundreds of things that I would love to experience. So I'm sitting between this place of satisfaction, of like gratitude and satisfaction of all the things that I've done and set out to do and actually completed. And then on the other hand, I'm like, but why stop there? So I have a few main ones. The main countries I really want to go to is Palau. I really want to go to Palau, and I really want to go to like Tahiti, French Polynesia. These are two sort of island destinations that I really want to go to for. I love free diving, so I really want to go for the ocean, the whales, the sea life, and then also just like tropical vibes. I just love the tropical vibes. So I haven't been to those two sections of the world yet. Um, and yeah, and basically like half of Africa. There's so much in Africa that I haven't even started to touch. Yeah, so probably like I just slapped the continent of Africa on there, and then a couple of random islands. But my main focus now is less to do with ticking off bucket list adventures, and more focused on like making a really good adventure. So like it doesn't bother me if it's in Palau or if it's in my home country of Australia necessarily. Like if someone's like, hey, this thing is really cool and it's in my home country, I'm just as excited now as I would be to see it if it was in a random place. It's more sort of focused on like the adventure of like, okay, there's like a 5-day trek in Peru that I really want to do. That's like on my list. I don't really mind or care that it's in Peru. And if someone like pitched me, here's like 5 epic bucket list things that we should do, and they're all in Peru or they're all in Australia, I'm just as excited. And it's more like individualized to the experience rather than the like that country now. So
the location is secondary to the experience that you would have.
Yeah, like there's in Mauritania there is that coal train that everyone can goes on. Have you seen that? They jump on that coal train and you can go for like overnight.
I've seen it.
That's awesome to me. Like, oh, it's in Mauritania. That's cool. And it's a new country that I haven't been to, and I don't really know anything about Mauritania, to be fair. And I'm sure once I go there, I will learn more and maybe love it. But it's the coal train that I'm excited about. And if that coal train was in my home city in Australia, that's still exciting to me. I wanna do the coal train. I don't really mind the environment of where it is in. But yeah. Oh, and the other thing is I really want to get around to like all the more, not remote, more like I guess frowned upon is what you would say in the West. Countries in the Middle East. Like I really want to go to Afghanistan, really want to go to Syria, really want to go to Iraq and Iran. They're high adventure items just because the culture again is going to be so different. So I really want to just experience those cities like Baghdad and stuff like that. But yeah, I have a big list for someone that is satisfied and has nothing on
it. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start traveling either full-time or starting to kind of transition into traveling more exclusively?
In regards to traveling itself, or in regards to travel and being a creator online?
Both. I would say maybe being a creator too.
Okay, well, from a travel perspective, traveling is incredibly cheap. It's more affordable to travel than it is probably to live in your home country. If you're from, UK, Western Europe, North America, Australia, New Zealand, like if you're from one of these like westernized countries, it's actually cheaper for you to pack up and travel full time. So that's the first stigma that people don't realize. Oh, how can you afford it? Well, actually, if I just go to Asia, I can spend like $1,500 a month and I can be seeing a waterfall every day and I can be eating out every single day in Cambodia or in Vietnam or in Thailand. So that's probably like half, or depending where you live, 4 times cheaper than just trying to drive to work and rent in the city that you live in and in some westernized country. So the first thing is the mindset of just like, it's actually way cheaper than you think if you're willing to make those sacrifices and not live the super bougie life. And that's where people get confused from like traveling as a traveler or traveling as a like vacationer, because people then they go, oh, but I want to relax and I want to be in a resort. I'm like, oh, that's fine. But most people can't afford that if you're trying to do it for 4 months, where you can afford to travel if you just want to be more on the cheaper side. So I would just say, if you, from the travel perspective, just stop spending your money on stupid stuff, because that is like what everyone's money, like the amount of money that goes to like unnecessary things is wild. Then you can save a lot of money. I'm way better at saving money than I am at making money. And that has been like my entire life. Like if you give me $10 like I'll make that $10 go so far. But if you said go make $10, I'm like, okay, how do I do it? So we have different talents, and I'm just very stingy. But yeah. So that's from a travel perspective. I'll just get in the mindset of like it's way cheaper than you think, and if you're very, very, very privileged like me, um, I knew starting out that at the fallback, the worst possible situation is I lose all my money. I have to call dad with my head between my tails or my mom and say, hey, fly me home. I got no money. They give me $2,000. I fly home. I'm back in Australia where I can just get a flipping job for $60,000-$70,000 a year, just like that, and I can live with my parents until I get back on my feet, and then we can reload again. So if you can understand have self-awareness of your situation, obviously that's not the same for everyone. I'm very lucky that I have a loving and supporting family that I knew that if I screwed up the whole thing, I had a very easy fallback, and a lot of people don't have that starting out. So all the cards were stacked in my favor, but the difference was I had the self-awareness, and I realized my situation and the amount, and that gave me the ability to take those risks and take like extra time away. And because I knew that the worst case situation was the situation I was already in and that I was going to going to be in, which was not traveling, living in Sydney and just working full time as a graphic designer, which I didn't mind. But then I was like, oh, well, that's never going anywhere. Even today, I can just go back to Sydney, become a graphic designer. Like that's never leaving. So I just realized like you may as well take the risks while you can because you're not attached to anyone or anything. And this is the time to do it. So if you are thinking about traveling, that's 100% the mindset that sort of I started with. And yeah, it worked out really well. So hopefully that helps. And then from a creator perspective, well, that's a tough one because one, you have to love it. It's very hard. It's very hard. Oh, like people love the idea.
Mhm.
People love the idea of working for themselves or creating content, but the reality of it is a lot of people would rather know where their next paycheck is coming from. A lot of people would rather just have the comfort of going, I know I'm getting $4,000 every single month, and all I have to do is X, 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 tick it off, and I know that money will keep coming in, and I can play within those rules that I have. Where for me, like, like it could be months without a collaboration, or it could be like for me, it's like, oh, I have to straight up find a way to add value. Like if I woke up tomorrow and I was like, I'm really broke and no like companies are reaching out, I have to be like, what's the value I can add to my audience? Okay, maybe a travel guide, maybe yeah, maybe I'll do like a PDF like for $5 and that can generate enough money for me to get the next few, like, I gotta start thinking in this mindset of like, how am I going to afford to keep doing this? So yeah, and that only comes back to what I was trying to come back to is like that only comes back to passion, loving it, and living it. Because if I wasn't making any money, I would still be doing it. I just love it so much, like I would be doing it probably less because I'd have to find a job, but it would still be my side hustle. It would still be my passion project. Like some people love playing tennis, some people love sewing, some people love watching movies and going to the cinema. I love just making videos. I love taking photos. This is what I love doing. And I actually genuinely love sharing those things with my online community and building that up. Like I just love it. So and that's a very unique take because I know social media has a lot of negative side effects for a lot of people. And it's not obviously all like roses, but yeah, for me, I just love it and I love travel. So if you don't love it and you're never gonna do it long term. That's basically the thing. Like you can make, like in today's world with social media, you can make a full-time living from any one of your hobbies. If you're passionate, I say this all the time, like the most random example is like if you're passionate about avocados, you can literally be the avocado guy on the internet, and there's 8 billion people in the world. So the algorithm is probably going to connect you with the other 30,000 avocado lovers in the world. That's, there's so many people in the world, and there's so many people that have the same interest of you. It's just about connecting with those people. So yeah, you can make a full-time living just talking about avocados if you're passionate about it and you're dedicated to it, and that's what you want to do. So yeah, from a creative perspective, it really is just consistency, enjoying it, and then consistency, and constantly just pivoting, seeing what, wow, that didn't work, try something else. And it's really just taking a lot of losses. Almost, it's almost just like constantly taking losses, and then you will look back one day and be like, oh, that's how I learned everything I know, is because I just trialed, tested, and figured it out. And then now I look back now, like I would have never thought that, like 10 years ago, if you told me Jorden at 30, well, I'm 31 now, but if you said like, oh, Jorden, by the time you're 30 or 31, you would have traveled to 80 plus countries, you would have done all these things, I would have, you know what? If you said if 18-year-old Jorden had a list of everything 31-year-old Jorden has accomplished, and 18-year-old Jorden looked at it and said, oh, if I've done that by the time I'm 90, I would be completely satisfied. 100%. Like 18-year-old Jorden would have said that, would have been like, that looks like an epic life and a life well lived, doing 80 countries by the time he's 90, and doing all these experiences and making friends with all of these people in all different countries around the world. Like, that is awesome. I choose that life, because Jorden by 90, that'll be fun. I had no idea like what could happen in a decade and how
10
much
years.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm probably just rambling on here, but
you're fine.
Yeah, so it's just about, with creating, it's just about loving it and being consistent with it, and then just like getting in the community, and then everyone just figures it out together. So it's hard to start, but it's definitely rewarding if that's something you're looking at doing.
I think that's a really good high note to end on.
Agreed. Perfect.
So thank you again for coming on, and maybe if you want to tell our listeners some last words where they can find you online, that would be great.
Oh yeah, you can find me online at, my name is Jorden Tually. You can probably just see it in the podcast.
We'll put it in the description.
In the description.
Everywhere.
Because my mom gave me an E in my name, so it's Jorden with an E.
I'm Carly with an I, so I get that.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's great for trying to get social media usernames, but it's terrible for literally everything else.
Everything else. Huh?
But yeah, so you can find me there. Feel free to say hi. I try, like, if you send me a message on Instagram, I try to respond. Especially if it's really hard to respond to all the messages, but if it's a actual question, not just like oh, that's sick, or I want to go there, or what should I do in the Philippines? Like, all of that stuff you can find on the internet. I've posted it on the internet a million times. But if it's a specific question like, oh, I loved, like, what about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the movie, like, inspired you to start traveling? What was it? Was there a specific scene, or is there a specific quote or like vibe that you got that made you want to go to Iceland? Like, things like this. Then hopefully I read it and I will answer. So that's my hopeful guarantee. But yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope it was good.
That's all for this episode. If you'd like more Oishi Goes in your life, make sure to stop by girlswhotravel.org/podcast. That's where you can fill out a form if you're interested in being a guest on the show. You can also write to us at oishigosgwt@gmail.com, or leave us a message on our Google voicemail from any phone or computer at 1-563-503-6323. To follow our adventures, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Carly Sees the World. Carly is spelled Carli.
You can also follow me at Sophia AEZ, Sophia with a PH. Away She Goes is part of Girls Who Travel, a community dedicated to radically redefining travel to be inclusive, sustainable, and empowering. You can learn more about GWT, find travel tips and support, shop travel-themed items made by GWT members, and join our Facebook group with nearly 100,000 women all around the world at girlswhotravel.org. We can't wait to connect and explore with you.
Away she goes.